everybody. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Shawna, and this is World of Washaba, where I talk about our homeschooling journey with my 6-year-old twins and my 8-year-old twins. They just all had their birthdays like within 1 and 2 months, so it's really weird for me to say those ages. This video is actually a collab with a ton of other mamas, and it is hosted by my beautiful friend Wendy over at Plan Prep Pray. So definitely go check out her video. You will be blessed. And also all the other ladies that are in this collaboration will be in the notes section. So go ahead and check out that playlist. This is going to be a good one. This video is on homeschool myths debunked. And I know we all have opinions on that. And I think this is also a really great video to do right now because I know a lot of you, due to circumstances, or maybe it didn't even have anything to do with what's going on in the world right now, you have decided that this is the year that you want to homeschool, or maybe you're on the fence of that. But there's a lot of, there can be a lot of like, you're feeling conflicted or confused. Can I do it? There's so many things. Maybe you haven't done so much research yet, but let me just tell you, you can. Anybody can. If you want to, there is a way. So before I go into the 5 myths that I'm going to debunk, don't forget to subscribe. If you are new to this channel, thank you so much for joining. Welcome. I hope you find a lot of encouragement here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell that will notify you when my videos come up, and give me a thumbs up because that helps my video get seen by other people who are looking for this type of content. So let's go ahead and jump right in. My first myth that I'm going to debunk. The myth is you have to enjoy everything. You have to enjoy the arts and crafts. You have to enjoy the science projects. You have to enjoy math. You have to enjoy teaching. You have to enjoy being with your kids all day long. Okay? No. You don't have to enjoy that. There are times of extreme joy, but there are times of extreme frustration and extreme, like, why am I doing this, And I don't like science projects at all. And so sometimes when I know that friends of mine are doing science projects, I'll say, hey, do you mind if I just kind of scoop mine in here and they could do that with you? They're like, yeah, sure, fine. And I also feel like your child will be fine if they never do a science experiment or project. Because in the mind of a child, they are doing projects and experiments every single day. What's going to happen if I pick up this giant bowl filled with water and I walk it across the room? Oh, look, it's spilled. Like, that's a basic experiment. So don't think if you're not planning these elaborate things or even arts and crafts, don't worry about doing all the popsicle sticks and the little puffy balls and the rice noodles and all of that stuff. Set some pens and markers and crayons and paper out. And I feel like we don't give kids enough credit for finding things that they enjoy on their own. They will find a way to create things where you don't have to supply all of this stuff. Maybe you're not a naturey person. Maybe you don't like going outdoors. I know in Florida, there are so many bugs. It's ridiculous. So maybe choose a season, like when it's cooler and the bugs aren't out. Maybe that's the time that you do all the outdoor stuff. But maybe during the hot seasons or whatever, maybe that's when you do more inside things like games or maybe documentaries or things like that. There's no one way to do it right, but find what you enjoy and do that. Watch what your kids enjoy and feed into that. You don't have to have a wood shop or, worry about like it looks like my kid wants to be an engineer and I don't know how to do that. I have no interest in doing that. For example, my son, my 8-year-old son, he loves putting things together and building things. He has a very engineer type brain, not me at all. I don't even find enjoyment in that. I like seeing what he creates. So I'm going to take him to Lowe's and I'm going to buy him a bunch of PVC pipe parts, let him go to town, and I'm going to show him how to build like basically a lightsaber. I think he'll be really excited about doing that. I don't have to instruct him. I'm just going to give him the parts, and in his mind, which I'm going to give him credit for having a creative imagination, he'll figure out how to build it. He'll build it however he wants to build it. I don't have to sit there step by step and be like, oh, this is so not fun for me. You know what I mean? give them the tools and just let them fly. Let them find what they enjoy. Because if we're always trying to say, okay, we're going to have fun doing this, and your child isn't enjoying that kind of thing, nobody's going to find enjoyment. So don't worry if there are things that you don't find pleasure in. That is okay. Number 2, you had to have done good in school yourself, or you have to love school. No and no. I did do well in school, but here's the thing. I am a child of public school. I don't remember anything from school. What does that say about our education system? I mean, I know I learned things, but I feel like I didn't really learn things until I went out into life. I joined the Navy at 18, and I learned so much about socializing with other people from different races, different countries, different religious backgrounds, all of these things. And I learned so much more just about life in general, because now I'm paying for things on my own. I'm having to have a bank account. I'm having to have a car payment. I own a pet. You know, all of these things I feel like I didn't quite learn until I left the house. So I like to try to take that into our homeschooling. Yes, there are things that you need to cover, right? And those I refer to as, and I'm sure you've heard of these, the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. Those are the core, like, standard things that you should always come back to. If you run out of time for everything else, I say come back to those. Make sure reading, writing, and arithmetic are done. What I want to do with my kids in homeschooling is prepare them to go out on their own, be a model citizen, know how to pay their bills, know how to be respectful to people, know how to keep their house, my boys and my girls. I want them both to know life skills, hygiene, manners, all of these things, because if we're giving them an education in just academics, we're failing them after they leave the house. So if you are not good in school, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you are a complete failure, because here's the thing, your kids aren't you. And you may have a child that loves exploring and learning and all of this stuff. And no matter what you do, you will not be able to stop that child. So don't worry about it. That child will start to learn everything because they are just craving it. So they will find a way to fulfill that need. Also, there are ways you can get online tutors or things like that if you feel that there's, too much of a deficit. Also, if you have a child that seems to hate school or hate learning, you can have compassion with that child because you were there. So don't worry about that. And you can say, okay, what didn't I like about school? Let's change that. I didn't like that I had to sit in a chair for 45 minutes. So how about we sit for 10 minutes and we do something, and then you go run around and play. And then we come back for another 10 minutes and we do something else. And I keep giving you these breaks because that's what I needed. And see if that kind of changes their mentality. Maybe you didn't like certain subjects. Maybe you didn't like history because it was boring, right? Let's find a way to make it exciting. Let's go to these places if you're able to, if you live in a kind of a historical rich area, but you can always find places of history everywhere you live. Okay, the third thing, you have to have money. No, I actually know a couple families that don't spend anything on homeschooling. They have a library card. That's it. They don't buy curriculum. They go to the library, they check out 1 million books. There are a lot of free resources online, Khan Academy, Easy Peasy. I know I'm missing some, but there are so many free resources online that that go all the way from kindergarten up through graduating. And don't forget about Pinterest, wealth of stuff there. So you don't have to have a lot of money. If you have a homeschool community, hook up with them. If they're doing a science project, maybe they don't mind that you join. If they're doing arts and crafts, maybe they don't mind that you join. If they're doing a nature walk, those are free. That's free science. Outside is free science. Anything your child does outside is free science. Playing in the mud, picking up bugs. So don't worry about money. There are plenty of ways to get around not having enough money and letting that stop you. Don't let money stop you. Number 4. Socialization. Oh my goodness, the word that all of us homeschool parents love to hear. Now, I know a lot of people get super upset over this. I try not to, because I know that when people ask about that, it's truly because they're not educated in homeschooling and what it means. Okay, so here's the thing. When you think about socialization, the first thing you think is, oh, my kid needs to talk to other people, right? Trust me, as homeschoolers, we talk to a bunch of people. We go to church, we have gymnastics, we have baseball. And baseball, I'm not even gonna lie, is 5 days a week. 5 days a week. My son is around boys his age, coaches where he's getting some good male role models from, playing a sport, being active. My girls are in gymnastics twice a week. It's going to start to be twice a week now, where they're around coaches and girls their age and all of this stuff. Church, you know, an array of people. We do play dates and parks and beach. And no matter where we are, my girls and boys will go out and find other children. Like if we're at the beach, they'll go over to the other children and say, do you want to play with us? And sometimes the other kids say no, which is a great lesson. Not everybody's going to say yes. Not everybody's going to want to play with you. But everywhere we go, they always find people. But the thing that I'm okay with is picture school, right? Where else in your life will you ever only socialize with people your age for 8 hours a day? Nowhere. Once you leave school, you are now in the world. When I was 18 and joined the Navy, I was 18, but when I went to boot camp, there were women in their late 20s. When I went to my first duty station, now I'm 19, but I'm working with 60-year-old people. It's not like I joined the military and now we're all 18, and when we go to our next duty station, we're all 19, and then we're all 20. No, I have to learn to be respectful of all ages. I have to learn how to communicate with people of different ages. When you are thinking about socialization school-wise, I don't want my child to only know how to socialize with people their age. If my child is used to being around a lot of younger kids and a lot of older kids, the older kids, they're going to want to model. So I'm careful of who we hang out with, because I want them to see these older kids. Oh, what are they doing? How are they acting in situations? How do they handle frustrations? How do they handle problem solving if something breaks? My younger child is going to be watching that one, because you know that's what kids do. They watch older kids and see how they react to things. And that's very healthy. If they're around little kids, they almost take on a sense of, I need to protect them. And that's a very natural thing. And so it's such a beautiful thing to see your child be able to interact with, it doesn't matter what age, to not feel shy about going up to somebody who's much older than them and just asking a question, because come on, you know, older people love that, you know, like when we're at church and my son always goes up to everybody and he introduces himself and he shakes their hand and he says, and he'll just say something like, do you like Star Wars? And he's just trying to work on a conversation starter. And I never want him to lose that. When you think of socialization, don't think of it as my kid's not going to play with anybody their age. Who cares? It is so healthy if they don't. It is so healthy. They get such rich conversation from adults, from older kids. It grows and challenges their mind. When they're around little kids, that challenges their mind in different ways, because now they're turning on a nurturing instinct. So these are all beautiful things. So as long as you are just making sure that your child is interacting with people, that's fine. That's all they need to do. They don't need to be with kids every single day, all day. The fifth one and the last one is patience. I have heard so many people say, you must have the patience of a saint. I could never do this. I do not have patience. I'm not a patient person, guys. I'm not. I've said this in previous videos. Patience does not come easy to me. I get very frustrated. I feel very anxious. I have a lot of worries, and I feel like I can be snippy and, you know, and just feel overwhelmed. It's okay. It is absolutely okay. And you know what you are also doing? You are being a direct role model for your children, because when I'm impatient, which is not okay, when I take my impatience out on them, what then are they going to learn from me? They are then going to learn that at the end of my tantrum or whatever I do, I gather them around and I say, listen, I was impatient. I did not act the way that I should have, and I'm sorry. Can you please forgive me? I was upset over, you know, the spilled lunch, but that doesn't mean that I get to take that out on you. And what they're learning from me is a life skill. that yes, we get impatient. We're human. That's an emotion that we have. But how do I cope with it? And sometimes I don't catch it right away. Sometimes it's not till the next day, or maybe a week has gone by that I realize I have been super grumpy, and I sit them down and I say, I'm so sorry that I have treated you in a way that did not make you feel safe or loved. That's my job as a mom, to make you feel safe or loved. And I am so sorry that I did not, give that to you this past week. I had frustrations I was going through. But that doesn't mean that I get to treat you that way. And I'm hoping that in doing that, that allows them to know in my future relationships, there may be times when somebody's frustrated at me or when I'm frustrated at them. And that's going to happen, but how do we deal with it? But there are times, guys, when I lose my patience and I just think, am I the right person for this job? But then I go back to, why am I homeschooling? Life is not perfect. Unfortunately, we have difficulties, we have traumas, we have depression, we have, loss of loved ones. We have what's going on in this world right now. And the best thing that you can do is let your child see how you react to that. And if you lose your cool, if you lose your temper, that's okay. That is a beautiful, wonderful, perfect, teachable moment. And you will hear that from most all homeschooling moms. Everything is a teachable moment, no matter where we are, where we go, what happens. In any instance, everything is a teachable moment. Let me share this last thing with you. Here's 5 books that I just want to share with you. The first 2 are more secular books. The first one is Hold On to Your Kids. This is Why Parents Need to Matter More Than Peers by Gordon Neufeld and Gabor Mate. This is one of my favorite books. This just goes through, if you are somebody who's worried about socialization, get this book. How Children Learn by John Holt. If you are worried about your child, will they learn enough? Will I do enough? Will they be able to succeed because maybe I feel like I'm lacking? How does the child's mind work? How do I prepare them? All of these things. Then this is the book for you. These 3 are more faith-based. The first one is Education, Does God Have an Opinion? A Biblical Apologetic for Christian Education and Homeschooling. This book is amazing. So if you want to know basically what does the Bible say about education and how you should train and teach your children, this book is for you. The next one is Answers for Homeschooling, Top 25 Questions Critics Ask, which works perfectly with our, myth playlist. This is going to go over everything from patience to teaching multiple grades, teaching children with special needs. The author of this book, Israel Wayne, he's amazing. He has homeschooled 9 kids. So he has a lot of great information. He was also homeschooled himself. This last one, Homeschool Bravely, How to Squash Doubt, Trust God, Teach Your Child with Confidence. So if you are somebody who is just starting and you're nervous, you don't know where to start, you don't know you're just scared. Are you going to do a good job? Are you going to let your kids down? Should I even be doing this? How do I do this? Then this book is for you. So I would definitely check those out. I'll put all those links below. And again, thank you so much. If this was helpful to you, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, and I would love to see you back here. I will chat with you next time.